Hey everybody, it's Rachel. For those of you who are new, welcome to my channel. Make sure you subscribe to keep up with all of my event planning, DIY, fitness, and mommy videos. Today on my channel, I'm going to be talking about postpartum. I will be 2 months postpartum on September 5th, so I just wanted to share my experience postpartum because there are a lot of things that you'll read online and see on Instagram, but what you don't see on those social media platforms and websites are real life experiences. I feel like the internet does a lot of overhyping what is actually real and what's fake. So I just wanted to share to tell you guys what's real and what is fake when it comes to postpartum. First and foremost, when it comes to postpartum, I will say that everyone is different. There are some women who will experience postpartum symptoms that vary compared to the next woman. Now, I'm here again today just to share what my experience was like postpartum. And so first I'll start off with the emotions. So initially after giving birth, like I've shared in another video, my baby was in the NICU for 5 days after giving birth. So that alone already kind of took my mood down because one, after going through a traumatic experience, but a beautiful one of giving birth, having to not be able to like hold my baby and be with them for 5 days was intense. So the emotional side of postpartum is really up and down. There were days when I would be happy because I had a healthy baby, a healthy delivery, but then there were days when I would be sad and just really frustrated with the whole experience. And so what helped me and what I would advise any new mom, anyone who has just had a baby, whether that's your first child or not, is to make sure that you create your support system prior to giving birth. So for me, I already knew that I was going to speak with my counselor at my 2-week mark after giving birth because I knew I wanted to be able to have someone to talk to and share just what I was experiencing with in the event that like my mom or my boyfriend wasn't going to be able to be that listening ear for me. Now, I will also say that part of my support system was my mom and my boyfriend, and they were excellent in just making sure that I was feeling okay, and whenever I was feeling down, they would like check in or like try to like do anything to like make me feel joy. And so I really think that that was the true part to making sure that like in those beginning days when my baby could come home, because it's already chaotic, having them there really helped with the emotional side of me and everything. And I will add that my mom, she is so phenomenal. She was always like checking in and watching me because she knows her daughter. Like she knows I can get into those mood swings where I'm just like overwhelmed. And so she would always keep an eye on that. And she even, not recommended, she even, I can't think of the word, but she even acknowledged that like I was doing really good. Now, I would like to add that although I mentioned how I did have my support system and I knew that they were there for me if I needed anyone to rely on or anything like that, there were some days when I was just overwhelmed. I remember sending a text to my boyfriend saying, hey, I'm just overwhelmed with really trying to adjust to the new schedule of everything. So like I said, my baby was in the NICU, so for those first 5 days, like we weren't home with him. So I didn't know what it was going to be like when he came home. So having to adjust to like getting zero sleep, literally zero sleep, was intense. Making sure that when my boyfriend's working, that when I'm here, I'm keeping the house clean. Making sure that when the baby's crying, is it because he's hungry? Is it because he has a dirty diaper? Is it because he has gas? Like that was a lot on me. And also just balancing, like trying to find like, who is Rachel now? Like that was a lot for me to take in. So there were days when I literally would go in the shower and just cry. Like I'm not even kidding. I would literally cry in the shower because I was just overwhelmed. And I actually was talking with a girl a couple weeks ago who mentioned to me that she was like, you know, your house will never just be clean. And honestly, like hearing her say that gave me like a reassuring feeling that it's okay for the house to be a little dirty, because I would get really upset because I thrive in spaces that are not cluttered. So I would get super overwhelmed when like the space would be dirty because it's like his pacifiers are everywhere, our stuff is everywhere, the burping bibs are everywhere. Like it was just a lot for me to handle, and I'm, like I said, used to having clean spaces. So just hearing her say that like no matter what it's still going to be dirty was okay for me. So now it's to a point where like when I do clean, I know that everything's not going to be spotless, but as long as stuff can go in their spaces, I'm okay. And then really just like like I said, it wasn't until now my baby's about to be 2 months that like I kind of feel like I have a grip on everything as far as like cooking for the family and maintaining like household chores and making sure that my baby's good, and Princeton because I don't just have the baby, I've got my dog too. So just creating a routine that like works for me has been helpful. Now when it did come to sleep, I would be up at night like looking up what can I do to get my baby to sleep, and I did see some great tips about that. But I will say that we do not have a sleep schedule. I let my baby just kind of take his naps during the day when he needs to, and at nighttime I do kind of start around 9:30ish to like start prepping him to get ready for bed. But as far as like, all right, 7, 8, 9 at night, I don't have that. And for me, like I had to kind of let that go because I would literally go crazy trying to like stick to a schedule. All right, now speaking of schedules, I was a EPer, so I was an exclusively pumping mama, and cannot talk. When I first brought my baby home, I was pumping 8 times a day. Now, imagine everything that I just said that I was doing and add on pumping to your schedule. Like that was a lot. That was part of like my mental breakdowns. So for my mental health, I literally had to like be like, okay, Rachel, something's gotta give. So about 2 weeks ago, when my baby was 6 weeks, I decided to introduce formula. Because when he was in the NICU, he was taking formula, but I decided to introduce it back just because to keep up with breast pumping, and like I would sometimes put him on my breast, it was just too much for me to handle. So now I'm actually down to 4 times a day pumping. My goal is to try to go 6 months pumping, but I'm just gonna do what my body can handle, and right now I can handle 4 times a day. And like I said, when he first came home, so about 2 months ago, I was doing 8 times a day, then dropped that down to 6, then 5, and now I'm at 4. And honestly, I feel great because it was to a point when I was pumping that my baby would be crying, but it's like, oh, I gotta hurry up and pump, and that was time I could be spending with my baby. So that attributed to like my postpartum like sadness, because I was like, this is too much, I'm doing too much, like something has to give. And so we're down to 4 times a day, and that was very helpful. So all of that kind of like tied together, like the emotional aspect of postpartum for me, it was definitely a roller coaster. Sometimes I still have my days where like I get down, but like seeing my baby's face, it just makes me light up. And when I do feel down, like I said, I have a great support system. I'm very open, I'm very self-aware, I share how I feel, and I have a therapist. So that has been very helpful for me in my postpartum journey. So along with the mental and emotional side of postpartum, I want to share really quick about the physical side. So anyone who knows me knows I ran track in college. I've always been a fit girl. And so to see my body now, I was very, very hard on myself and had to learn to give grace. And I'll share like a clip of my postpartum journey. Like I started 2 days afterwards, and then I went to like 1 month just to like track the progress of my belly. Right after giving birth, I still looked like I was pregnant, which is normal, but I think it was more so me looking at different images of women who like had that snapback that I just really wanted to have that too. Now, I know people always talk about fat shaming, but skinny shaming is a thing as well. Like I personally feel like the body that I have now is not where I want it to be, but other people look at me and they're like, what, you just had a baby, you're so skinny. But it, like little do they know, I went up 2 jean sizes, and so that's kind of like where I'm at now. And so really just learning to give grace. Like even today I still have to learn to give my body grace, give myself grace, and that has been something that has truly been like part of the journey, because you're not the same woman. You will never go back to being the same woman, like mentally, emotionally, physically, at all. So like letting go of all of that has kind of like been a struggle that I'm even still working through, but it's definitely something that like I'm looking forward to the future of it. Now, I have been trying to like incorporate more water into my diet. Like I feel like I drank more water when I was pregnant versus not, and just like more cautious of eating healthier. Like you eat like crazy when you're pregnant, and now it's like, because my schedule is so busy, I sometimes will like, instead of having a full breakfast, I might like do like a small breakfast snack. But for me, I don't ever want to skip breakfast. Like my dad always told me breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and so that's something that I always want to incorporate because I want my son to be able to always have breakfast. So it's like really finding a way to balance everything has been the biggest struggle with postpartum. Like I said, I'm only about to be 2 months postpartum, and I'm just now like getting into a rhythm where like, okay, I'm not the old Rachel, but like this new Rachel, like who embraces her curls and her new body is someone who I truly like look forward to seeing. All right, everyone, with that being said, that is my experience with postpartum. Like I said, I'm nowhere near to the end of any of this, but I'm definitely looking forward to the future of it. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.